Great football nations are usually built on history. Brazil has its flair, Germany has its efficiency, Argentina has its passion. Japan had none of that. For decades, Japan was never seen as a serious football power. They were respected for discipline, organization, and sportsmanship, but feared by no one. That has changed. Today, Japan is no longer just Asia's rising force. They are becoming one of the most carefully engineered football projects in modern history. And the most dangerous part? This transformation was planned decades ago. To understand Japan's rise, you have to look back to a time when football barely mattered in the country. Just over 30 years ago, Japan didn't even have a professional football league. While baseball dominated Japanese sports culture, football remained mostly amateur. Players competed in the Japan Soccer League, a corporate system where athletes worked full-time office jobs and played for company teams. Football wasn't a profession, it was an extension of employment. Only a few dared to dream bigger. One of them was Yasuhiko Okudera, who moved to Germany in the late 1970s to play for 1 FC Köln. His move was so unusual that his company assumed he would fail and promised to keep his office position available. Instead, he succeeded. He scored in the Bundesliga and even in a European Cup semi-final against Nottingham Forest. For the first time, a Japanese player had proven he could compete with Europe's elite. Yet Japanese football as a whole remained stagnant. Then came another bold dreamer. At just 15 years old, Kazuyoshi Miura left for Brazil with little money, no language skills, and no guaranteed opportunity. That decision symbolized Japan's football reality. If you wanted elite development, you had to leave the country. Then something unexpected happened. A cartoon changed everything. In the early 1980s, Captain Tsubasa aired on Japanese television. Its story followed a young boy determined to lead Japan to the World Cup. For millions of children, it was more than entertainment. It became inspiration. An entire generation began to imagine something previously unthinkable. Japan as a football nation. That cultural shift slowly built momentum. By 1993, Japan finally launched its first professional league, the J-League. Compared to neighboring countries, they were late. South Korea and Saudi Arabia had already established professional systems years earlier. But Japan made a decision that would define their future. They chose patience over shortcuts. In 1993 came one of the most painful moments in Japanese football history. Japan was seconds away from qualifying for their first World Cup. Then Iraq scored in stoppage time. The match became known as the agony of Doha. Instead of reacting emotionally, the Japan Football Association responded strategically. They created something extraordinary. A 100-year plan. Their vision was ambitious. By the J-League's 100th anniversary in 2092, Japan would have 100 professional clubs and win the FIFA World Cup. It sounded impossible, but Japan committed fully. No reckless spending, no dependency on aging foreign stars, no short-term success at the cost of long-term growth. Every professional club had to build youth academies. Infrastructure, coaching, and development became non-negotiable. This wasn't about immediate glory. It was about building a football ecosystem that could sustain excellence for generations. The results came faster than expected. By the late 1990s, Japan had qualified for its first World Cup. Then came players who changed perceptions. Hidetoshi Nakata became the face of modern Japanese football. Fearless and technically elite, he moved to Serie A and earned global recognition. In 2002, Japan co-hosted the World Cup and reached the round of 16. Then more milestones followed. Asian Cup victories, success in continental club competitions, more players moving to Europe. Names like Shinji Kagawa, Keisuke Honda, and many others helped Japan gain international respect. But the federation still believed more was needed. They didn't want respect. They wanted dominance. In 2016, the J-League signed a major broadcasting deal worth roughly $2 billion. That money changed the structure of Japanese football. Clubs were no longer rewarded equally. Funding became tied to player development. If a club produced elite talent, it benefited financially. The message was clear. Develop players or fall behind. Japan had turned its league into a production system for world-class talent. Then came another important realization. After the heartbreaking 2018 World Cup defeat to Belgium, Japan examined not just tactics, but mentality. They concluded that their players were often too cautious in decisive moments. Technically gifted, tactically disciplined, but not ruthless enough. So they sought to change that. Even popular culture played a role. The philosophy behind Blue Lock, creating selfish, ruthless goal scorers, aligned with a new mindset. Japan wanted players with killer instinct, not just disciplined workers, game changers. The breakthrough arrived in 2022. Under manager Hajime Moriyasu, Japan produced one of the most impressive group stage performances in World Cup history. They came from behind to defeat Germany. Then they did it again against Spain. Japan topped the group. Germany were eliminated. Against Spain, Japan had just 17.7% possession, the lowest recorded by a winning team in World Cup history. That statistic revealed something important. Japan no longer needed to dominate the ball. They understood exactly who they were: organized, explosive, efficient, clinical, and above all, dangerous. For years, Japan hit the same barrier. Round of 16, again and again. Each time, close, but not enough. That ceiling still exists, but this team feels different. Not because of hype, because of structure, because of preparation. Because this generation is the product of decades of planning. Most nations build teams every 4 years. Japan has been building this one for over 30. What makes Japan so dangerous isn't just talent. It's patience. They didn't chase shortcuts. They built systems. They invested in development. They trusted the process. And now the football world is witnessing the result. Japan is no longer a team that simply participates. They are a team capable of changing tournaments. The question is no longer whether Japan belongs among football's elite. How long before they win it all?